Everyone. As we gather here today, let us remind ourselves of the quote that we cannot do everything, but we all can do something, and that is where true impact begins.
On behalf of the Setu team and the Little Scholars fraternity, we extend a warm and heartfelt welcome to all distinguished schools participating today, to our respected teachers, and to our dear friends who have joined this orientation session of Setu 2025. This is Nehi Agrawal, joined by Sukhman Singh Sidhu and Swarnim Garola, and we'll be your hosts for this session. We'll guide you through this workshop.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's Swarnim Garola here, and Setu stands for Social Enterprise Towards Unified Understanding and Undertaking. But like the name, काम भी हम बड़े ही करते हैं. Each year, students of Little Scholars undertake this special drive to raise awareness and address critical issues related to Sustainable Development Goal (SDGs). Through Setu, students engage with peers from neighboring schools, fostering a collaborative environment where young minds can discuss and devise solutions for global challenges such as poverty, education, and climate change.
Greetings of the day, everyone. My name is Sarthak Singh, and today we are here to talk about something which is very universal. कुछ ऐसा जो हम रोज consume करते हैं, food. But today we are not just going to look at as a meal, केवल एक खाने की तरह नहीं, but as the central force, the beating heart of next. Now, food connects some of the most critical challenges of our time. कौन सा challenge are we talking about? The challenge that we are talking about is how to create a sustainable household, and we will understand how food can be our best tool, कैसे वो हमारा best weapon हो सकता है to create a sustainable household. I would like Gitanshi to present some FAQs.
The frequently asked questions are: first, why does India face both malnutrition and obesity at the same time? Unequal food access, some lack nutritious food, and others rely on processed, calorie-heavy diets. Second, what factors are checked to know if a person is well-nourished? Answer is BMI, weight, diet variety, and nutrient intake. How can we design a future plate that is healthy and sustainable? By choosing local seasonal foods, less meat, and reducing waste. Thank you.
And I can see a question over there by Nidhi Gupta. How many families do we have to serve? So, firstly, we don't have to survey first. पहले हमें वो parameters and factors पता करते हैं. We would be talking about survey and followings in the next session. आपको पहले next session तक ये पता करके आना है कि कैसे किन factors पे depend करेगा कि एक person, एक family well nourished है या नहीं. क्या वो कितनी कैलोरीज इनटेक कर रहे हैं उन पे डिपेंड कर सकता है या फिर लाइफस्टाइल. सो इन दैट वे यू ऑल हैव टू थिंक अबाउट कि हम लोग क्या पैरामीटर्स रख सकते हैं. आवर ऑडिट इज नॉट अ फर्स्ट स्टेप. ऑडिट वी वुड बी टॉकिंग अबाउट इन द नेक्स्ट सेशन. नाउ लेट्स हैव अद्वैत फॉर वाटर.
जल है तो कल है, अगर जल नहीं तो जीवन भी नहीं. Hello everyone, my name is Advait Singh, and now let's talk about the vital need of humankind, that is water. The first issue is the depletion of fresh water. Water is the foundation of life, yet it is one of the most misused resources on our planet. Did you know that out of all the water available on earth, only 2.5% of fresh water is there, and even most of it is locked away in glaciers and ice caps. That means the water we can actually use is very limited. Now, let's look at the challenges we face. Next slide, please. With rapid population growth, the demand for water keeps increasing. At the same time, groundwater is being over-extracted for agriculture and urban use. Many rivers and lakes are drying up, and in several Indian states, the water table is also falling at alarming rates. This depletion not only threatens ecosystems but also human survival. Unless we act now, we are heading towards a severe water crisis. Now, next, if anybody has any query, they may ask. are we expected to show how our solution reduces waste generation alongside resource conservation? Okay, it is a good point, but we think that firstly we should means like हमें पहले अपना household की practices को देखना होगा. वेस्ट जनरेशन हम उसके साथ में देख सकते हैं, बट पहले हमारा मेन टारगेट होगा कि एक हाउस होल्ड जो एक मतलब हमारा मॉड्यूलर होता है उसे हम कैसे मीन्स हम उसे कैसे यूज़ कर सकते हैं, उसे कैसे बनाएंगे, उसके साथ हम फिर उसे कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं. देन ओके, सो नाउ FAQs will be taken up by my co-partner Faz.
Good afternoon, everyone. As Advait introduced me, I am Faz, and I will be sharing 4 most important FAQs that may be asked in Nexus related to water. The first FAQ is, how does saving water help in energy conservation? So first, pumping, treating and distributing water resources require a lot of energy. But by reducing the uses of water, we can save energy there and the affiliated carbon emission. Second FAQ, how does climate change affect the role of water in Nexus? So, it alters rainfall pattern, increases drought and floods, and disrupt water availability, directly impacting food production.
Yeah. So, is the presentation visible to all? So, after knowing much more about water and food, let's start with energy. Energy plays a very important role from our day-to-day life. And in this presentation, we will be knowing about energy, where we use energy, how can we minimize the consumption of energy, and at last we will have a case study. So let's start with energy. Energy is an entity which, though we cannot see, but plays a very important role in our day-to-day life. If we are doing something, then we consume energy. So energy is the ability to do work. It can either create heating effects or it can either create cold effects. So after knowing, let's take over that what are the forms of energy. There are various forms of energy like nuclear energy, hydro energy, electrical energy and sound energy. And in this presentation, we will be talking about electrical energy. Why electrical energy? Because everyone can correlate with electrical energy. हम घरों में, even in conference halls, we are using electrical energy for either lighting the LEDs, fans, ACs. So electrical energy को हम अपने आप से correlate कर सकते हैं. दूसरा, किसी भी energy को we can convert any energy into electrical energy very easily. For example, पहले LPG से खाना बनाया जाता था, लेकिन आजकल इंडक्शंस का यूज किया जा रहा है. तो इसमें जो LPG से एनर्जी क्रिएट हो रही थी वो हमने इंडक्शन में हीटिंग इफेक्ट से क्रिएट करी है. तो every energy can be easily converted into electrical energy and we can easily correlate with it.
Now we have another question.
इनमें से involved.
How do we factor in the carbon cost of production for our components which may save some energy? That is, if we save 5 units of energy using some component, but it costs 10 units to make it. So this is a very good question. First of all, there is everything requires energy. So yes, it is possible, but it is highly unlikely to be done, because why would you even use it if you are saving 5 units of energy but giving 10 units of energy?
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Iqbal Kaur Luthra, PGT History from Little Scholars Kashipur. Dear children, before we begin, I want you to think about one question. The question is, have you ever noticed that some areas in our town are much cleaner than others? Or have you noticed that some people enjoy better facilities while others struggle with pollution and waste?
Good afternoon to wonderful educators and participants. I am Vikram Negi. I am working as a TGT Social Science at Little Scholars. So in this session, I will be taking your questions regarding environmental justice. You can ask your queries, and if you want to write down in the chat box, you can write your questions there. So if you have any queries regarding environmental justice, you can write down your queries in the chat box, or you can directly ask the question. I think we don't have queries from our participants, so we will start with some of the most common frequently asked questions. The first question which is often asked is, why is environmental justice important in the context of climate change? Because the communities that contribute the least to emissions, like farmers, coastal dwellers, and tribal groups, are often the ones most affected by floods, droughts, and rising sea levels. So environmental justice advocates for giving them equal access to climate funds, adaptation strategies, and protective laws. One more frequently asked question could be, what role does environmental justice play in resource extraction? So we have large projects often displace indigenous and rural communities without proper compensation. Environmental justice demands free, prior, and informed consent of equitable benefit sharing and stronger rehabilitation and resettlement policies. Like if I talk about any example, we all know about a tragedy that occurred in 1984. I'm talking about Bhopal gas tragedy. So a gas leak at the Union Carbide pesticide plant released deadly methyl isocyanate gas. It impacted that over 3,000 people died immediately and more than 5 lakh people suffered long-term health issues, including cancer, respiratory diseases, birth defects, and blindness. Victims, mostly poor slum dwellers near the plant, struggled for decades for fair compensation, adequate healthcare, and environmental cleanup. So we can see that the victims which are mostly affected by such environmental tragedies or natural disasters, these are the victims which are least to be blamed. They have nothing to do with such project, and yet they have to face the worst consequences. So environmental justice advocates for such policies and environmental laws that protect such victims or such communities. Now I would like to request the moderator to take over. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. This is Anju Singhal, PGT Economics Little Scholars. It's a pleasure to be here with such a bright young minds. I was just checking the chat box, which was filled with a lot of queries. Nice to see this. As today we gather here for an orientation session on a very meaningful and timely topic, the empathetic economy. Although prior to start with the session, I would like to share my screen. As we all know that the Indian economy just stands as the 4th largest economy in the world. And
Greetings for the day, everyone. I'm Harshita Bhatt. Okay, so the topic of the day is empathetic economy. If there is any question related to that, you can post those questions in the chat box. We will be taking the questions. The question which I have, yes, here.
Is this idea somehow related to the inclusive growth?
Yes,
so how does inclusive growth connect to empathy?
Okay, very good question. So when we are talking about the inclusive growth, we have to ensure the marginalized communities, farmers, and the vulnerable population. So the growth and the development is not only for the people or for the big countries. It is for the everyone, whether it's the environment or other species with whom we are sharing this planet. So what by empathy and by the inclusive growth we mean that we have to acknowledge and address the struggles within the economic planning. And when we are covering that, we are focusing on the poor section.
So hi everybody. This has been a very interesting first day where we just kind of introduced this complete program. I'm sure there are a lot of things which you would have as questions, as and unanswered in some places, and answered in some places. You might be having a lot of ideas in mind, and I'm sure that we've been answering. I think the team has been answering a lot of questions. I've seen in the chat box, which is quite interesting, many questions which were